Overstimulation is causing men and women to become complete failures. The more and more we consume on our phones, the more and more we distance ourselves from our minds, causing us to feel out of control and impulsive with decisions. If you feel a bit out of control or even depressed, just know that many feel the way that you do, and there's a few ways you can change those feelings. So for a very, very long time, I was controlled by my phone, especially the notifications that I would get from these news outlets. So these news outlets like Newsbreak would send me notifications and stuff, and sometimes it would even pop up on my Google where I'm getting these different kinds of news feeds, right? And these news feeds, what they do is they give you headlines, right, that instill fear into people. And of course, that's people like me who ends up seeing that kind of content and sees that kind of headline and honestly just gets just super worked up over. You know, I see a North Korea headline or something, and all of a sudden, you know, I'm in a fit of anxiety and I feel like I'm going to have to go into warfare, you know, literally a month from now if everything just goes completely south. Like, I was so paranoid at one point, especially whenever the North Korea and Trump was in office. There was some like heat going on, so was, you know, threat of like missile threats or whatever. That stressed me out to no end at the time, okay? And what I had done actually was I literally bought a gas mask and, you know, like a filter with the gas mask and stuff. I was even going to buy a suit, literally a freaking hazmat suit. I'm really glad that I didn't buy the hazmat suit, and honestly, some people might look at it where, oh, you know, you're just doomsday prepping. You're gonna be solid whenever the war hits. That might be the case, but in my personal opinion, now that I've looked back on this, you know, and all these different thoughts that I had, and it's driving in my car, sitting there thinking about, you know, an impending war, dooming my mind at all times, it was just completely unnecessary stress because it's things that I cannot control. But what I realized that I can control is the way that I perceive things on my phone. And the way that I actually ended up fixing this was I ended up taking apps like Newsbreak completely off my phone. And then I also stopped diving deep into the topics that made me so anxious. And what I realized that whenever I stopped looking into this kind of stuff, I stopped talking to other people about these kind of, you know, political subjects and just any kind of bad, crazy news that's happening, I realized that it allowed me to actually get more of a grip on what I'm doing in my life. Because I think that everybody ends up living through other people's lives all the time, and, you know, because a lot of people live through Trump, a lot of people live through Biden, a lot of people live through, you know, what's going on in the world. What it does to people is it just instills this like fear and this almost sometimes even hate towards, you know, even the mailman who's giving you some mail because he's a federal worker. That's the kind of stuff that you don't want to turn into. When it gets serious and gets bad, of course, you're probably not going to be the guy who's hating on your mailman and releasing Precious the pit bull on him. That's not gonna happen likely, but, you know, that's the extreme, of course. What is likely to happen to you, because it's happened to me, is whenever you stick around, right? You stick around and you're looking at whatever's going on politically, you're looking at whatever's going on with the bad news of the internet, it starts to actually make you more anxious and make you feel more stressed because you're seeing negativity all the time. You're feeding your mind with negativity. And whenever you're feeding your mind with negativity, you have negative thoughts. And because you're having negative thoughts all the time, this reinforces things that are bad habits, okay? And bad habits that, you know, would kind of tie in with this would be like things like smoking or drinking or even just fapping off to the hub. Now, for me, it was obviously, you know, the whole fapping thing. It wasn't, you know, drinking or smoking, luckily, but for some people it is. And, you know, with this fear, with this stress that we receive on our phones at all times, you know, oh, our new hurricane just hit and it just struck. Yes, that's tragic, that sucks, right? But if it doesn't apply to you, then don't look into it. You know, don't look into it unless you're going to literally go there tomorrow and start helping people, rescuing people, then don't look into it. People will tell you about the news that's happening in the world, okay? If there is very serious things happening in the world, you will hear about it from your coworkers, from your family, from your friends. You will hear it from other people. You don't have to look into the news. So because I've gotten rid of the news apps and I've stopped looking into negative subjects, I've realized that it's allowed me to take way more control over my life, because what I'm doing is allowing my, my mental energy to be placed elsewhere, right? I'm not sitting there dwelling and thinking about the things that are completely irrelevant to my current day life. I'm rather taking that mental energy and I'm taking it and I'm putting it towards more positive things rather than such negative things, and filling my mind with more positive thoughts and positive activities and good habits, rather than, really relying on those bad habits and being kind of just controlled by them. And I think that whenever we sit there and we scroll and scroll and scroll, and whether it's just social media, just scrolling on TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook, we see things that bring an emotional response. Whether it's, you see a meme and you think it's funny, so you send it to your friend because you laughed out loud after, scrolling for an hour to find that one good funny thing. Or you find something that's really sad and emotional. It makes you really depressed, and it really just brings down your emotion. You're finding almost content that actually pulls you down. Or you're finding things like, especially politics and stuff, that makes you just rile up. You're angry. You're really pissed off at everything. That's the kind of overstimulation that's occurring within our bodies. Essentially, it's allowing your phone to pretty much choose your feelings and your thoughts, and for social media to twist and turn the way that you're feeling. And what that can do is have a very long-term effect on the rest of your day. And, something that you might see in the morning that you cried over or you got angry over, it can literally follow you throughout the rest of the day, and you wouldn't even realize it because it's such a natural thing. Overstimulation is something that's passive. It's something that we don't even realize is occurring because, once again, we don't have control over our minds. Our phones have control over our minds, and that's what we have to pretty much stop. So my suggestion is to stop watching the news. Let other people be your news sources. You'll talk to people, you'll hear stuff around you, and you will find out what's going on in the world. Trust me, you're not missing out. You will find out eventually. A lot of these things are just completely useless to our time and just makes us, act out in stressful ways, anxious ways, angry ways, and depressed ways. I mean, these are the feelings and the emotions that we get from just being on our phones and being controlled by social media and these news outlets that, they really got a hook on us. You really gotta take the hook out of your mouth and just swim away. So that's pretty much it for this video. I appreciate you guys coming out to it, and if you did enjoy, then definitely like this video and subscribe if you haven't already, and check out this video right here. Whoa, this is 5 ways to reset your brain. Reset your brain if you feel like maybe you just need to take a little bit more control of your brain. Maybe you feel like you're still a little bit out of control right now. So if you want to learn 5 methods that I've used and that's worked for me, if you want to dig a little deeper, check this video out and find the fire within you and stay Diablo.